Okay, can you see me? Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. Okay, and you can hear me okay too? Okay, so what do we need to go the other thing for? Oh, I see. Oh, all right. Okay. All right. I'm live. And it's time already. We've passed the time. All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Good morning, Dave. This is Lawrence Kazan Cassini. I'm doing a little morning Gordy. This is a little uncomfortable for me. It's totally out of my comfort zone. I'm delighted to do it because it's a new challenge. The technology is not my best thing. Hello, Kent. Good morning. Thanks for joining. We're 9:29. Okay, we've got another minute. Wendy, good morning. Nice to see you. Thanks for joining. I'm doing this for the first time on Facebook in a serious way, because I often do it in a more comfortable way from my car and so on, so it's much easier. So thanks for joining. So it's 9:29. We still got another 9:30. Okay, good morning, Alex. Thanks for joining. So, okay, so here we're going to start. And thank you. So here we start. So I have a couple of, record. I didn't put record. I guess it's recorded. I forgot to check about recording. I guess it's live video. Okay. So here we go. I've got a couple of questions to start with. The first question I have for you is, who are you? I'd like you to think about these things, because these are fundamental questions which we need to answer. We need to know ourselves. We need to know who we are. That's the first question. Who are you? How well do you know yourself? Do you really know yourself? Under pressure, under good times, bad times, when business is good, when business is bad? These are all reasons why we need to know ourselves. Who are your mentors? What books are you reading? These are important fundamental questions, because when we start to look and see who we are, we have a life journey in this business which will put a lot of pressure on us when we don't even expect it. Like today, I'm really under pressure. So the type of books we read right now, I would suggest, my suggestion for this week is a book called Outwitting the Devil. It's by Napoleon Hill. I think that's a phenomenal book. So the first question I have for everybody is, who are you? How well do you know yourself? The second question I have is, what do you want? What do you want? Think about it. How badly do you want it? How badly do you want this? And when we know who we are and what we want, it will give us to the why we do things. The why. We've got to discover the why. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? Why did we do whatever we're doing? So those are the first just two questions that I would put to you to think about yourselves, what you want, and this business. So here I'm going to give you an X-ray of my taking of where we are in the sick care industry. We go to the healthcare symposium, but we're actually living in a sick care society. There's no healthcare in America, it's sick care. So my first thing is to say, where are we with this healthcare industry? So the first one I would say is, let's look at the doctor situation. That's one of the targets we have. It's not only doctors, it's entrepreneurs, it's healthcare professionals, it's pharma reps, medical sales reps, anybody in the healthcare industry. That's who we're looking for. But we've also got to understand where they are. So if I look at the healthcare industry, which, as I say, doesn't exist, in my opinion, it's a sick care industry. So we look and we see the doctors are seeing between 25 and 40 patients a day. Why do they see so many patients? Think about trying to see 25 or 30 or 40 people in a day and understand who each one is and pay attention. That gives you about 8 minutes a person. How can a doctor possibly have any kind of a relationship with that patient with 8 minutes a day? 8 minutes a person, 30 of them in a day. So why are they doing that? Because insurance is a problem. Reimbursements is a problem. Electronic records is a problem. Takes up half their time, literally. So when we speak to the doctor, you say, well, doc, how many patients are you seeing a day? And he's saying, well, 25, 30, 40. I was with a doctor about 3 or 4 months ago, and I said, how many patients do you see? And she said, not enough. I said, what? Ma'am, what do you mean not enough? She said, well, I only see 29. And I said, well, that's more than enough. She said, no, I can't make out with that. So it's no longer about the patient, it's about the money. It's about why they have to see more and more patients. So what does this mean when the doctor sees 25, 30, 40 patients a day? It means that their time for their families and for everything else is totally reduced. They've got very little time. So they're humans like everybody else. And that is painful for them too, to be able to sacrifice their lives as well. And they're on this treadmill. They're on this treadmill. So many of the doctors who started out had their own dreams about their practices, and then they find that they now couldn't afford to keep their practices. Many of them have been absorbed by hospitals. They've been employees. They're now employees. That's not what they signed up for. They've lost their independence. They're now employees of the hospitals, many, many, many of them. So when I say that the doctors are not making money, I'm not saying that all doctors. I'm saying that there are a lot of doctors that still make a lot of money. The elective surgery, the cardiologist. There are certain sectors in there, certain specialties that, yes, make a lot of money. But generally speaking, general practitioners and so on, not so much. So when we look at what the doctor does, because of the way the sick care industry is, he does symptom management or she does symptom management. And they become useful messengers, I'm being very crude, for the pharmaceutical industry. So it's just an automatic thing that they do, a symptom management, and then write a prescription. So when I say to the doctors, doc, what are you doing different today than you were doing 5 years ago? And they look at me and say, well, seeing more patients. So I see, well, what are you going to do the next 5 years? See more patients. Really? So the reason I'm saying that is because the doctors are really, really overworked, very, very overworked, and stressed out. There are a lot of statistics out there about divorce rates, dysfunctional families, all kinds of things like that. So the physician is in not a very good position. Then we look at the pharma medical sales reps. The medical sales reps and pharma reps are very well trained. They're very, very well trained. And then they're given a territory. They're given a territory, they're given a quota. Say, okay, this is your quota, this is your territory. They achieve that. And once they've done that, the company says, wow, you've done such a great job. Thank you very much. You've done a really good job. You know, you're so good. We're going to reduce your territory and we're going to increase your quota because you can do it. We know you can. You're a rock star. They do that again. And when they achieve that, the company then says, so sorry to tell you, you know, due to mergers, acquisitions, outsourcing, you know, we've got a lot of things going on. We've got to let you go. So the pharma rep who has specialized in that particular aspect or that sphere of that pharmaceutical company is an expert. He's a professional. And then they let him go or let her go. So when I speak to a pharma rep who's in her or his 40s, they've been to 3 or 4 companies, pharmaceutical companies. They've been kicked around like footballs. So there is no security whatsoever, none, for the pharmaceutical rep. He works, maybe makes a lot of money at some time, and then when he's fired or she's fired, they give the job to someone half the age and pay him a third of the amount of money. So someone who was making 300 grand a year is now being replaced by some kid who's making 100,000. So when we look at the x-ray of the situation in which we are, the pharma medical sales reps, they're actually they're hurting as well. Then they're insecure in their jobs. They're holding on for dear life. And they're also accustomed to a standard of life, a standard of living. They've got a lifestyle which they have to keep. So suddenly they're 40 and they're fired again. Imagine putting yourself in their position. Many pharma reps really, really are hurting. So we're looking at the healthcare industry. We're looking at the pharma rep. Healthcare doesn't exist. Sick care. The pharma reps, we look at them and I say to the pharma reps, how many hours do you spend driving every day? And they say, oh, somewhere between 3, 4, 5 hours. I say, whoa, okay, think about it. 2 hours a day, 2 hours a day. If it was useful time, that's 5 days a week, is 10 hours a week, 50 weeks a year is 500 hours. 500 hours a year. Divide by 8 if it was really useful time. That's 63 days of the year they're sitting on gluteus maximus looking at the windscreen. That's serious stuff. That's 2 months of the year. That's serious. That's sad. Just driving. So then I say, well, what is your specialty? And they say, oh, you know, I sell stents. I say, okay, cool. Very nice. And do you have competition? Oh, please. Every major company makes stents. Oh, okay. So you drive to see the cardiologist. So you go from 57th Avenue to 274th Street to who knows what lane, because you're a specialist with your cardiologist in selling stents. Yeah. Well, here's a question for you. How would you like to have no restriction on your territory? In other words, you don't have to restrict your territory. How would you like to have no competition? You can go into a building of 50 doctors and see every single doctor in that building, and it's not restricted to cardiologists. What do you mean? Well, we have no competition. We're doing preventive medicine, and that is for every doctor in the United States needs to look at the future in the way where there is a viable option, and that is prevention. Prevention is the key, the gateway to the future. And by the way, we have the passport to the future, which is science, technology, and innovation, which I'll come to in a second. So when we start talking to the pharma reps, we say, well, no competition. We're the only company in the United States that has this device that can measure level of antioxidants. which is a biomarker to defend against free radicals causing oxidative stress, which applies to all healthcare, sick care, healthcare industry participants. So whether it's a pediatrician, whether it's a cardiologist, whether it's a gastroenterologist, a ophthalmologist, optometrist, doesn't matter. Everybody needs to look at this part of the prevention. So we're looking at saying, so we've got no competition, we've got no limitation on territory. You can touch any doctor. We've got the possibility of being able to help the physicians monetize prevention. That's one of the reasons preventive medicine never took off, because we could never monetize prevention. The health industry in the past has depended on the pharmaceutical industry because that's where the money is. You could make money doing that, but you couldn't make money doing prevention. Finally, we can. So when we talk to the pharma rep and we understand that the pharma rep has no security, we say, how would you like to have no boss? Oh, I'd love that. Okay, well, you can. How would you like to, oh God, sorry. How would you like to have a willable, saleable asset? They say, what do you mean? Well, this is your business. You can make a business out of this. You work for a pharmaceutical company, right? Yeah. Well, why don't you work for yourself? And why don't you form your own income from what you're doing, and rather than just pay it to the pharmaceutical company? You've got the knowledge, you've got the expertise, you've got the training. We'll give you the tools, we'll show you how to do it. What would stop you from doing that? So these are questions that I ask the pharma rep to kind of motivate him to think about, or her to think about, the unlimited possibilities which we have. And here they come. Imagine 70% of non-communicable diseases are preventable. Really? Like what? Cardiovascular disease, hypertension, diabetes type 2, lots of cancers. What's the common denominator? Food. These are diseases of choice. These are diseases of choice. Dr. Pateki in California actually said that. I was listening, I've always said this, but she added something which was incredible. She said, these are diseases of choice. So we choose to smoke. We choose to eat bad food. We choose not to exercise. These are our choices. And then we wonder why, when we get to whatever age we are, we have all these afflictions going on. We have all these things going on when we're wondering why. Well, if your car runs on gasoline, why would you put diesel in it? It doesn't work. Why do cows eat corn? They shouldn't. They should be eating grass. So anyway, the point is that we have a situation of a perfect storm where we've got 70% of non-communicable diseases preventable, where we've got inflammation, we've got pain, we look at inflammation, for example, we look at obesity, we look at diabetes. Then we look at people and say, I've got to have knee surgery. Well, honey, there's nothing wrong with your knees, it's your mouth. Try and reduce what goes into your mouth, and you may not have a knee surgery, knee problem. So it's a question of just common sense, which is the least common of the senses, and to say, well, we've got a situation where most of the healthcare practitioners that we see around the United States are simply doing symptom management. But we have the way to do prevention. And I'm harping on this because this is where the key is. So when we look and say, well, what can we do? Well, think about this for a minute. We are part of the largest anti-aging research company in the United States. Think about it. We've got 75 scientists working full-time in the company. We've got 35 PhDs, 14 modalities. Who has that? That's what makes me walk 10 feet tall. When I walk around and people say, well, you know, we're doing CBD and we're doing this and we're doing all, we've got a new company and we've got all, great, great. How do I know the purity of your products? How do I know what products, what the ingredients are? Is it a publicly traded company? Because that's the only way I'll be able to say, to know if they put up tax returns. The SEC will tell me that. So we've got something that is absolutely incredible. We've got this powerhouse of a company with the science, technology, and innovation, which is the passport to the future, thanks to the scientists that give us the biophotonic scanner. They give us ageLOC Youth. They give us LifePak Nano, LifePak technology, the technology for the supplements that are guaranteed to work. Why? How do we know that? Because we can measure them. We're the only company that has a device that can actually measure the absorption of the antioxidants through the carotenoids and antioxidants, which are a biomarker that are our defenses against free radicals, causing oxidative stress that can be conducive to cancer and heart disease. That's why we've got for everybody. We can approach everybody. So when we look and say, we've got the way to do preventive medicine, we can monetize preventive medicine, we can help the doctors make money, the pharma reps, the entrepreneurs, the medical sales reps can make money. Then the question comes, is this for you? Do you have the work ethic? Think about it. How many people actually are entrepreneurs? 85% of all businesses in the United States, of all businesses, 85% fail in the first 5 years. Because everybody has an idea, oh, I want to sell whatever they want to sell. And when the first hiccup comes along, whoa, and then the second one comes along, and then there's another challenge. Oh, I can't do this. Oh, no. Unless they've got an invested interest of $300,000 or $400,000 in a business, then they have to stick it through. They have to see it through because they've got a lot of money invested. The problem with our company, with what we have, not our company, with our business, is that the startup cost for a physician is a joke. $3,500 to get a state-of-the-art technology, which the company invested $100 million, $3,500? Seriously? And you have a problem with that? This business is not for you if you don't understand it. The fact that it's only $3,500 is actually a problem because people don't take it seriously. It's easy to quit. It's easy to quit. Well, I only lost $3,500 in that. Well, you know, so what? But they don't realize that they can actually make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year income with that little device, which is the biophotonic scanner. So when we look at the Pharmanex and we look at the fact that it's 35 years old, 5A1 rated on the stock market, 100 most within the top 100 most trustworthy mid-cap companies in the US, we have the solution to be able to offer the physicians, offer the healthcare professionals, offer the professionals, this is the whole key, the professionals, something that they have the tools that they can work with. And the tools that they can work with will be able to solve a lot of people's problems, starting from the patients. If we can help the doctor help the patient make educated lifestyle choices and solve their, or at least contribute, not solve, contribute to their healthy choices and to help them with their health, we can help the doctor do that. That's huge. And if we can help the doctor make money, as I mentioned, the doctors are hurting, that helps. If we can help the pharma medical sales reps have an alternative to the boxes in which they're placed, not because of their choice, but because that's how America runs. It's a capitalist society. It's about the money. It's about the bottom line. But in our case, we can do the bottom line and the money with compassion, with health, helping people from the patient, the doctor, the healthcare practitioner, the pharma rep, medical sales rep, entrepreneur. There's no limitations to what we can do. None. The only limitations are the cobwebs we have in our own mind. Get out of that. Look at what we've got. It's really impressive stuff. And if somebody who is my age can do this, can you imagine someone who's in their 20s, given the vision? I wish I'd met me when I was in my 30s. Wow. So the point is, this is a business for men, women, anybody else, that has the desire to do something. And this is where I come back to the first part of my little presentation was, who are you? Think about it. Who are you? How are you going to stand up to yourself? How well do you know yourself? And then what do you want? How much is the desire to have that? How badly do you want that? And what are you going to do for it? What would you sacrifice for that? What would you sacrifice to reach your goals? First of all, do you know your goals? Do you know what you want? Oh, I want a lot of money. That's meaningless. Absolutely meaningless. How much money? What are you going to do with it? If money wasn't an object, what would you do with your life? Have you ever thought of that? No, because you're always on this treadmill trying to get the money to pay the rent and to get a bigger house and a bigger car and all the rest of it. But if you had the money, what would you do with it? So in this case, you got to think about what it is that you want. Seriously think about it. And how you're going to get it. Here's a vehicle. Maybe not be the perfect one, but I can tell you this. This is a Rolls Royce with a Ferrari engine, and you just got to learn to drive it. Not everybody learns to drive the vehicle properly. You can get in a taxi, and some taxis are well looked after, and the person does a good job driving, and other guys are complete slobs. So you've got to choose your own speed. You've got to understand what it is you want. You've got to learn to drive this vehicle. This is a very simple business. Not easy, but simple. There are rules, there are challenges, there are systems. We've got people that have done this for 16, 17, 20 years in our own business, in our own group. We've got Wes, who's done this for 17 years. Got John Whitaker, who's done this for 16, 15, I don't know. We've got Steve Moore. We've got success leaves clues. We don't have to invent anything. We don't have to think out of what we've got. It's all there. It's all there for us. And we've got tremendous talent. We've got leadership from Marine Colonel that guides us. I mean, seriously, he's our Marine Colonel, can teach us. We've got business people like Wes who've reached the top of the range in the top of the groups where they were in their real estate, and who've done it again in this business, and who did it in the first time with accounting. Steve Moore is someone who started from the beginning, and he's become very successful. Scott Bennett, please. He started when he was, I don't know, 19. I met him when he was 25. I didn't even want to go and listen to him. So was my ego in bad shape. 25-year-old kid, what am I going to learn from that? And the person that took me there said, shut up, listen to the message and don't look at the messenger. Scott Bennett is a complete rock star. So we've got real leaders in our group. We've got Kent and Wendy who do their calls. These are leaders that are doing a job that is fantastic. They're following their hearts now. Got Larry who does his calls on I think every second Thursday. So what I'm saying is we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We've got it all. We've got it all done for us. We've got the company. We've got the science, the technology. We've got the products. We've got the vehicle, which is how to make the money. We've got a spreadsheet that'll show us how to do it. It's simple, not easy. Learn to drive this vehicle. That's what you got to do. We all have to. I'm still learning. I bump into things all the time. I have fender benders every day on this vehicle. Every day. I bump into things and I screw up. Of course I do. Who cares? Next, you keep going and you learn from experiences. That's where we get strong, where we can learn from our experiences. So I've gone on for 30 minutes. I hope I haven't bored anybody. And I see it's 9:59. I'm not sure if anybody has any questions, you want to text them in there. I appreciate everybody for being on the call. Wes, I thank you for dropping me in the deep end. I actually enjoyed the stress for the minute. And this is the first time I've done a live Facebook. I've done it on my iPhone and so on from my car. But I'm very honored that you're all on here. I appreciate you being on here. And anytime, this is what I'm going to be doing, I guess, for a while. And if you have any particular questions or themes or anxieties about anything in the business, I'd be happy to receive emails or texts and go through those and see if there's anything I can help you with. So I appreciate your time, everybody. It's 10 o'clock on the button. Don't forget Monday morning, got John Whitaker's call, 8:30 in the evening. Steve Moore has a call Wednesday morning, 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. Wendy and I've got a blank. Kent, and then Friday morning. So I appreciate everybody being on the call. Bless you guys. We've got some fantastic things to talk about next week, which if I'm still here, I'd like to go through them with you. And it's about the year 2020. And this is what we got to start doing right now. So that's what I'd look. Thank you so much, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. Blessings to you. Mama's Day.